By now, images like this have become very familiar to you. Even before I take the name, you probably already know what this is. Blazes of rockets streaking across the night sky over Israel, only to be intercepted mysteriously in little pops of surreal light. You know what that is? It's the Iron Dome. Well, why am I talking about the Iron Dome, which is an Israeli weapon, on India's Independence Day? Well, because Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in his speech from the Red Fort, unveiled plans for a system called Sudarshan Chakra, which experts believe could be a much more advanced version of the Iron Dome tailored for India. A day before Janmashtami, Prime Minister Modi invoked Lord Krishna, announcing this state-of-the-art defense initiative aimed at bolstering India's security and providing surgical air defense cover to critical installations, security establishments, and civilian establishments anywhere this is required.
देश सुदर्शन चक्र मिशन लॉन्च करेगा। एक पावरफुल वेपन सिस्टम दुश्मन के हमले को न्यूट्रलाइज तो करेगा ही करेगा, लेकिन कई गुना ज्यादा दुश्मन पर हिट बैक करेगा।
Now remember, it's going to take at least a decade to build this entire system in phases, but our best guess is this is how it will work. The radars on the ground will detect incoming enemy rockets or missiles or any kind of projectile aimed at a particular installation. The radar tracks the missile or the rocket speed, trajectory and angle with amazing accuracy. There is a central control system on the ground which calculates where that incoming projectile is headed or will land. It's possibly a threat to a populated or critical area. An interceptor is then launched from the launcher vehicle, which then flies up. It uses its own seeker and then either smashes into the incoming missile or drone or rocket or whatever, or detonates very close to it, destroying it in the air. This particular system, called the Sudarshan Chakra, will be able to track multiple incoming targets and accordingly destroy them. And remember, we know precious little about what Project Sudarshan Chakra is really going to be about, but the conjecture is that it is going to be an Iron Dome-like system, but with obviously far more advanced capabilities. Joining us to make sense of what this will actually look like, what it could be, what technologies could be involved, Air Marshal RGK Kapoor, former Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Central Air Command, and Group Captain MJA Vinod. He's an Indian Air Force veteran and a former fighter pilot. Thanks to both of you for being with NDTV on this Independence Day. Wishing you both the best of wishes on India's 79th Independence Day. An interesting aspect from that 90-minute speech was this Project Sudarshan Chakra. Air Marshal Kapoor, I'd like to come to you first. The initial sense, the initial assessment by most, since the Prime Minister said that these systems will be used to provide protection to critical facilities, establishments, cities, civilian infrastructure, etc., is to feel that it could be something like the Iron Dome or some kind of a more complex air defense kind of capability. What is your reading of this, sir?
So, good afternoon. Happy Independence Day to all the viewers and fellow Indians. I think it's a huge announcement on Independence Day. It's a major message to the entire world that India has come of age in technologies and is ready to integrate diverse technologies to find a solution to future warfare. And what is future warfare? It is like CDS had said in one of his address, it's no contact. That means most countries are looking at anti-access area denial. And now when you ask me this question about what it would be, I think it would be somewhere, if I conceptualize correctly, it would be somewhere between Iron Dome and its accessories and the Golden Dome that President Donald Trump has announced for the United States of America. Why I say that is, though it is initial times. But what message the Prime Minister has laid out to the technologists, to the R&D, and to the industry is very clear that it is not only an air defense system. That means it is not only going to defend, it is going to create a situation or a capability where we will be able to do a counter-attack in the shortest possible time. That means dynamic targeting. That means, what does it mean is that it should be capable of not only intercepting drones, short-range missiles, medium-range missiles, and if we see two of our adversaries, Pakistan and China, yesterday itself, Pakistan has announced creation of a Army Rocket Force Command. So I would believe that both China and Pakistan would have an array of surface-to-surface missiles and drones, which would cover entire spectrum from very short ranges to long ranges up to, say, 2,500 to 2,700 kilometers. Yes. Now, when we are talking about these ranges, you just don't need a single technology. You just don't need a S-400 system or Kusha.
Correct.
Our BMD is already in place to some extent. And so I think with the kind of development Kusha is going through, there are huge technologies which are already in the process of materializing, which will offer us this. But most important is the sensor grid. The sensor grid will have to be a space, air, and ground-based sensor grid that would be able to detect not only missiles, but also hypersonic vehicles and stealth. So space gives the best vantage point for counter-stealth as well as hypersonic. And so the space sensor grid would be giving the detection. And then the tracking and identification, tracking, and then destruction would be taken on by these interceptors. It could be both soft kill, hard kill, and mostly I think the technologies would move to laser and microwave.
Group Captain Vinod, very interesting. Somewhere between an iron dome and a golden dome that the United States is developing for its own sort of area protection. What is your appreciation of this Sudarshan Chakra? What's it going to look like? What kind of targets could it be built to actually intercept? And as Air Marshal Kapoor said, there could also be a counter-offense capability.
Shiv, I don't know whether it is by design or by default you got us both for this particular discussion. Though we both are going to talk what is there in the open source. We were one of the early ones who were looking at ballistic missile defense, sir as the principal director, me as the secretary. So we sort of laid the foundation for the ballistic missile defense. So when I saw Kapoor sir, I said, probably you had the insight of who were looking at ballistic missile defense.
Both of you have actually been involved in the system.
And laid the foundation for it on which we are going to, make this castle called the Sudarshan Chakra. But see, a couple of things, 7 quick points. If I were to, number it. Firstly, the name and the inspiration itself, when I was listening to it, when the Lord Krishna and the symbolism and precision, speed, all these was invoked. It sort of sets the stage for bringing the Atmanirbhar flavor and fervor to it. So that I think is one of the very important soundboard, if I were to put it that way. The core purpose needs to be understood, like Air Marshal said. It is going to have the next generation precision strike capability. So it is not only going to be what we already have, it is going to be what we are already going to, or we are going to make or procure. And it's going to be with pinpoint accuracy. You have adequately reported during Sindoor about our pinpoint accuracy, and it is going to be under the basis of it is going to be the technological foundations with indigenous weapons, as well as, like Sir said, the sensor grid, real-time, surveillance, as well as tracking, locating threat anywhere in these northern and the western borders, both air, land, and sea, and which is very important, Shiv, that it is going to have
Yes.
a sea dominance as well, and in which we are very well entrenched. And this brings us to the fourth and important point, Shiv, is the strategic role and the strategic importance
Yes.
this Sudarshan Chakra is going to have. Let me, say it up front. Sudarshan Chakra is going to sort of, echo in most chambers all over NATO, all over US. In fact, I just in the morning wrote an article about it.
Yeah.
The scope of the use is going to be huge. I'm also sticking my neck out, Shiv, to say, could it have a counter-terror operations, border security, and strategic offensive mission statement built into it? Time will tell. We both are out of the uniform. If we were there, probably we would include these two things as well into the ambit of the Sudarshan Chakra. The message to the adversary is very, very clear. And we've already given it once. We'll give it again. Swift, surgical, and precise. These are three. And zero tolerance. And he mentioned that very, very clearly. I think it's first time from the rampart, any prime minister has mentioned that it is going to have a very long, long-term vision.
No, absolutely,
being
because
global leader in advanced technology and net-centric warfare. So these are two things that are takeaway.
The Indian public is, Air Marshal Kapoor, the Indian public is has become well versed in what the Iron Dome is because of what's happening in Israel, between Israel and Gaza. So, it has entered the popular consciousness as a capable system that is, built to detect and intercept rockets and incoming tactical projectiles of that kind. Now, we've just seen Operation Sindoor, where India's integrated air defense did a magnificent job of intercepting incoming projectiles of different kinds, drones and possibly missiles, etc. as well. Will Project Sudarshan Chakra be a kind of extension of what we already have? Will it pick up some technologies that are already deployed, or will it be an all new kind of system, like the Iron Dome, sir?
No, I think it will be a kind of a step-by-step progressive process. It will not be a single one-time project that the Sudarshan Chakra will be realized. It will continue to build on certain basic things. It will have to build up on what we have learned from basic ballistic missile defense. It will have to learn from what we did by integrating Akash Tir with IACCS for Op Sindoor. It will have to integrate now the naval assets or the naval networks. And see, finally, it must be able to give a very efficient solution. You cannot have thousands and thousands of weapons being fired to intercept one weapon. And it must address a large area. See, we are not like Israel. Israel is a very small country. And Iron Dome suffices to a large extent for a country like Israel. But India cannot have just an Iron Dome. It will have to be a multiple of Iron Domes, many multiples of Iron Domes.
Yes.
And it will have to be specifically tailored to the target system or the vital areas and vital points that we want to address. So as the strategic importance of a target grows, it will have to be, secured by a much stronger set of systems. Whereas a much lesser value target,
yes,
where we could allow certain amount of damage also we could take, we will then scale it down to a very basic system.
Yeah.
But the fact is, it has to be integrated. The biggest challenge for us would be to set up the space layer.
Yeah.
Today, the space layer is our biggest, Achilles heels. And so, till the time we do not have a very good space layer, I don't think Sudarshan Chakra would act the way it is designed to, or is it imagined. So it is many things which have to go parallelly. The whole plan or the blueprint has to be made first. The components have to be decided, and then responsibilities have to be given to various functionaries to put it all together under a single. And it will have to be monitored not by a set of actors. It will have to be monitored at the highest level in the government, so that there is no delay and there is a proper check and balance, and most importantly, a red team should be there to ensure that it is progressing the way it is desired.
Very, very important point. So it's going to be, it's going to have a lot of moving parts, and it's obviously not going to be just one sort of plug-and-play system. It's going to have layers and obviously will be developed in phases, which is probably why the Prime Minister also said that it's going to take about a decade for it to be, perhaps fully realized. Before I come to you, Group Captain Vinod, just a sense of some of the systems out there that we're talking about, that come to mind. Israel's Iron Dome has been known to be one of the most successful, short-range systems. They've also got a very, very successful short-range missile defense system that is used to intercept incoming missiles as well as rockets from Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. The United States has what you just heard Air Marshal Kapoor talk about, the $175 billion Golden Dome missile defense system, which is a three layers of interceptors, radar arrays, lasers, space-based defenses as well. The United Kingdom has something called the Sky Sabre in development. It's an air defense system influenced by Israel's very own layered protection. South Korea has also initiated development of a similar kind of system in 2021. Group Captain Vinod, let's look at a sort of futuristic scenario where the project Sudarshan Chakra is ready, it's deployed, and you have a city, let's say Delhi, protected theoretically by a Sudarshan Chakra system or systems. Now, what would that mean? Can you paint us a picture or a scenario of what that would mean for this weapon to actually get activated? What would make it activate? What would that look like?
For viewers who do not know, Air Marshal was the air attaché in US, lived in DC, I think, for over 3 years. So he brings to this narrative that you heard a great deal of insight into what is dual dome protection that we are talking about, which is the Iron Dome and the Golden Dome layer. Like you rightly asked, Shiv, it is important for viewers to understand what are these dual dome protection is all about. See, Iron Dome is going to be a three-layer system, which is mostly surface-based, including the sensors is going to be surface-based, and it is quote-unquote will be a missile interception network, basically, and to neutralize rockets and low-flying drones, which we saw and did using D4 systems in Op Sindhu. But when we are talking about in the dual dome system, in the second domain or the second dome called the Golden Dome, it is going to be a space-based differential, like Marshall said. So high altitude orbital threats are also going to be one of the aspects. Though 1986 moratorium, for people who do not know, forbids countries from weaponizing space, I have a feeling that even Russia and US have do have a dual-use satellites where it is during the daytime doing peaceful work. Otherwise, it can be weaponized in no time. For example, the tungsten long rod penetrators, basically something which is holding, say, sun shield or the solar panel can be released and it can become a weapon. So it is important in the dual dome scenario, Shiv. We need to have something called an ASAT weapon, an anti-satellite weapon.
Yes.
China is, on twice they have demonstrated that particular capability. We absolutely, in the next decade or maybe less, we need to have that capability.
Yeah.
And also, US talks about something called an orbital umbrella, which we are woefully short, like Marshall said, but we are moving in the right direction. So that brings us to what is called the multi-domain strike capability, which we have been talking about, Shiv, believe you me, for over a decade and a half or maybe 2 decades now, the multi-domain strike capability, in which we are there as far as the surface domain is concerned. We are not yet there as far as space is concerned, and we are probably about 40% or so in the sea strike capability. Because, for viewers to understand this, the way Indian peninsula is in the Indian Ocean is like a dagger. We are probably the only country which has an ocean to its name, and entry into Indian
Right.
Ocean is through Malacca, Sunda, and Lombok. So there are only 3 straits. So we really rule the ocean, but we need assets to rule the ocean.
Absolutely.
So it is going to be space, ground integration using Iron Dome and the Golden Dome, including SAR, EOIR capability, hyperspectral imaging, and ASAT capability.
It's very rare when you have the Prime Minister actually single out and name an in the works or in the pipeline defense project of this kind. And when he does mention it in an Independence Day speech, no less, you know it's very important, and more importantly, you know it's probably under the PMO and it's probably in mission mode as well. And I think that's good news for capabilities. There is a fresh Atmanirbharta momentum after Operation Sindoor as well. Let's hope it carries on. It's an ambitious system, but we have some of the finest weapons scientists and officers like the 2 gentlemen on our show today. They are in the Air Force now as well. So there are big things to hope for as far as Project Sudarshan Chakra is concerned. Air Marshal Kapoor and Group Captain Vinod, always a pleasure. Thank you for helping us decode a complex issue for our viewers here on NDTV. Thank you, sirs. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones a very happy Independence Day.